What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to I Think You Should Buy a Podcast. We're stepping up the game. Got an official mic. We're going to be doing a little bit of ASMR now, but we're stepping up the production a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but
Nothing too crazy.
yeah, we're looking to kind of switch it up, keep things fresh as well. We've been talking the last couple of weeks. We're wanting to starting to do a little bit more segments, do some kind of listener questions, things like that, just to keep it a little bit more fresh, more interesting, not just us rambling for 20 minutes a week as well. So it's good to have you back, brother. What's going on?
Yeah, dude. And with that, let's start rambling. I'm just
Yeah.
messing, but yeah, dude. We're gonna really tailor this thing. It's about to take off. We've been saying that, and we've got some good traction. But yeah, we're gonna continue to. Kyle's got a fresh mic now. We got the headphones on. Added some little details. Hopefully, you guys can tell the difference. I think the reality is we are hoping that we get some good feedback and consistent questions being asked so that we can tailor this to the fans and the audience. But life is good. Just got over a little stomach bug, which we're not going to go into detail on what that
No, break
entailed,
that
but
break that down. Like, what did that look like for you?
nobody wants to know about that. But yeah, dude, I think it's kind of cool doing this podcast because you and I mean, you got talked about it probably a couple times on some earlier pods, but like you got married, moved to Hawaii. I've got a 1 year old now, just turned one 2 days ago.
Happy
And
birthday,
then
Vinny.
between working and then getting sick and all the other fun stuff, it's like we're riding the roller coaster just like everybody else is, trying to kind of do everything we can between work, relationships, raising a kid, and then making this podcast top tier for the audience. So things are good though. I'm getting caught up, trying to get back on a schedule after getting over this sickness, but it's finally 81 degrees. Look at this view. I mean, if you're watching this from like Washington or even like say Wyoming, Ohio, New York, I mean, you just don't get this in November. So if you're looking to move to Arizona, I will say I know a guy that can get you a good mortgage, and I also know a guy that can hook you up with a good agent. So that's
Shoot.
what's happening in my neck of the woods. What about you? What's new? I know we finished 75 hard a couple weeks ago. So what's the last couple weeks been looking like since you're not on this crazy schedule?
Yeah, well, first off, I just want to give a shout out to that seamless, just beautiful transition of just the self plug for a mortgage right there. That was honestly a masterclass.
Yeah, well, that's going to happen every week now that we're more dialed in. It's just coming up
Yeah,
with those
dude,
pitches and
absolutely electric, and that background does look phenomenal.
yeah,
I
dude,
got to
thanks for
figure out.
saying something too.
Yeah, I need to figure
Appreciate
out how to
that.
get mine going too, because I've got a pretty sick view out of the window, but I need the lighting here, so I'll figure it out here coming soon. But dude, yeah, pretty good. I mean, we finished 75 hard. I posted on my Instagram story last night too, because I always like to post all the healthy stuff I'm eating. I was like, dude, I got to keep it a buck with with my
I saw
followers.
that.
And Jasmine, like one of our friends here, Carly, is quite the baker, and she baked this huge chocolate peanut butter cake, like a full size, like legit this big. And Jasmine had like a slice, but then had to go on a work trip. So, dude, I've just been brick by brick, just chipping away every day, and I've got about probably a third of it left. I'm about 2/3 down, so just I eat super healthy and dialed. Like I meal prep this week. I've been eating super lean. I've been having like just like beef and lettuce, like for salads, and then I make it good with some like Greek yogurt and stuff like that for sour cream, kind of. But anyways, been eating super clean fruit all throughout the day, and then I get back from jujitsu and I just eat like a fourth of a cake in a sitting. I'm like, dude, nice.
I mean, you worked for it though. I did see that story though. It made me laugh. But you got to keep the fans in touch with reality. I mean, you can't lie. You got to be honest about what you're doing.
Yeah. No, I feel I was just thinking too, because I posted, I was like, oh, like little healthy hack, some free game for the fans as well. Like just I don't know why it just dawned on me last night. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I have like Costco sells like canned chicken noodle soup that's like healthy-ish. But I was like, dude, such an easy meal. I just heated that up and threw some ground beef in it and just added like another 20 grams. So it was like 40 something grams of protein. And it took 5 minutes to make. So it was like a nice little healthy hack. And then I just noticed myself 5 minutes later eating a thing of cake. I was like, dude, I got to keep it real with people.
Yeah, you're like, I'm
I
not
feel like
only eating that.
it's easy to only post all the good shit you're doing. And I was like, I feel like it's important to kind of show both sides. So,
I know. I feel like unless I have a couple people I follow on Instagram that post of like they post them going to the gym every day. I don't know if it's just like a accountability thing for themselves, but I always laugh, like, because you can tell the people that don't go to the gym a lot because they post every time that they are there. And
Yeah.
it's like the same thing with eating. And like everyone, we're all hypocrites with it. Like I feel like Brie and I are always like, nah, no seed oils and stuff. And then so we eat super clean for dinner. And then I'm like, I'm gonna have a Reese's, which I'm sure is just filled with artificial stuff. So,
Yeah.
but we had a big election that just happened, and now a lot of people that use the if you're listening to this and you're a first time home buyer, you're gonna be a first time home buyer, and you use the you know what, Kyle, I'm gonna wait till after the election. This is the time where guys like Kyle and I can pick up the phone and say, hey, yo, Kyle, election's over, you ready to go? So with that, like, what are you seeing on your end with housing, with rates? Have you had any talks with clients that had those kind of objections or conversations that have picked up, or what's new? What's new on the business side of things?
Yeah, no, great question. And to kind of plug the listeners in too, this is kind of going to be our, as of right now, what we're thinking as our second segment. Like, first few minutes, we'll kind of go into what's new. Second few minutes, like second little segment here, we're going to talk about what's actually happening in the market. As you both know, we are both loan officers, so it's just part of our everyday lives. So great question. And yeah, I mean, so many people over the last 6 months, like, yeah, I want to buy, but I'm going to hold off to the election. And it's always like, okay. Like, but like you said, okay, election's over, nothing changed. So, like, what now? Which, I mean, I get it. I mean, like, I understand people's thought process, but in reality, one day later, nothing really changed. I mean, temporarily. So, to get into the nitty gritty, I guess a little bit, Trump got elected, the stock markets went crazy. I mean, a lot of people were high on the stock markets, less regulation should equal kind of a more booming economy. This is all what the markets are saying. This isn't necessarily me, but so a lot of money ran right into the stock market. A lot of people don't understand that mortgage rates are tied to the bond market. Bonds and stocks kind of fight for that same investment dollar. Every dollar essentially that goes into the stock market is a dollar that's not going into bonds. So that temporarily kind of hurt mortgage rates. Leading up to it, when once he was kind of projected to win, it was already kind of priced in. So which we saw a couple weeks going up to the election, rates get a little bit worse, and then they initially got a little bit worse, and then I would say since then, I mean, I want to hear your thoughts too, but we had a few betterments in pricing as well once things kind of settled down. So I would say overall it's kind of a wash. Like, we're probably pretty flat, like, right now as we were the few days leading up to the election. Some volatility there, but that's what I'm kind of seeing, and nothing really changed. It's still, we got about 1% better over the late summer. Then we basically jumped up 1% leading up to the election. So it was kind of a wash there. And the projections going forward are we're still going to just very slowly inch our way down on mortgage rates. The Fed just cut another quarter point, which, once again, when the Fed cuts rates, that is not mortgage rates. I'm going to say it now.
Please, Sam.
I'm going to say it 100 more times, because no matter how many times I say it, I still get it every day. Not mortgage rates. It's the overnight borrowing between banks. It affects short-term debt like credit cards, car loans, things like that. Still projected we're going to slowly start to move down as inflation is now under control. The job market shows some weaknesses. Those are kind of two levers that cause the Fed to cut rates. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. I know I kind of covered a lot there. What about you? You agree with
Well,
all
dude,
that?
first off, I mean, that was, and I'm not even being sarcastic. Like that was gold. You got to clip that. Like 20 seconds of that and repost that on all your socials, because drop some fire nuggets, especially if you're confused on the housing market listening to this. Like, go back, listen to that again. That was all money. I agree with you. Like, I think it's so confusing, especially for first time home buyers, because they hear so many different things going back on the Fed's cutting rates. They've done it twice now within the last 90 days. And everyone's like, my God, we're going to be back into 4%, 5%. It's just not the case. It's not directly attached to mortgage rates, which long term, it's probably going to help alleviate some pressure, but short term, it doesn't mean rates just drastically dropped and now you're going to save $500 on your payment. To flip things a little bit away from just with the election and mortgage rates, and more so just market specific, at least in Arizona, typically from October to beginning of January, so October, November, December, the market just is very slow because you have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. People take time away from work. You got snowbirds coming in. People are just busy, and they're not necessarily spending a lot of time on housing. So for me specifically, it's getting the word out and saying, hey, look, they have the Cromford report that comes out, which gives real estate professionals insight on what the market's doing. And we've hit a point, I think it's the highest, or in the top three highest it's been over the last 10 years on seller concessions. I think the average that came out in the last couple of weeks was at 10K. meaning the average concessions on a deal right now, at least in Maricopa County, is $10,000. So if you bought a home for 500 grand, you're getting 2% of the sales price back to you as a buyer to cover your out of pocket costs for closing costs, which can be around 2% of the sales price. Or you can use that 10,000 to get a lower below market rate. So say you're like, hey, I'm not buying right now because rates are at 7%. Well, you can get $10,000 to maybe get your rate down to 6.25 or 6%, which is going to save you, depending on the loan amount, $200 to $400 a month on your monthly payment. So with all that, that's like the reoccurring theme that I'm talking to with clients right now is like, if your goal is to wait until next year, let's relook at the numbers and see like, hey, if we can get money from the seller, you can probably get that payment you're waiting on for rates to drop, or maybe just for no reason you're just waiting to wait. You can get in now and take advantage of it. And the best thing I love about those conversations is you and I have talked with sales, like we don't sell things that we don't believe in. And I bought my house in December of 2023. So I'm like, hey, I'm not telling you this and feeding you BS. Like I did this last year in December, I saved a ton of money, got concessions, got a huge price reduction because people are still trying to sell, right? People still want to sell their homes, and if they're desperate enough, they're going to give up money or they're going to do a price cut, and you can take advantage of a buyer, which is what we call a buyer's market. But long-winded answer is like you said, the election is going to be great. I personally believe long term, but in the short term, we're not. Nothing's changed quite yet. So I think that wraps up, housing update wise. If you're in the market to buy or sell, talk to your local real estate professional or Kyle or I, and we'd be happy to get you guys some more info so you can make an educated decision.
Yeah, I think a couple things that just came up when you were talking about that, and it's so funny. I do like my weekly newsletter to like all my clients and referral partners, and I literally put in this week's letter, I would say on average, out of all the deals I'm doing, the average buyer that we're getting under contract is getting about $10,000 in seller credits. And you literally just said the same exact thing for you. So that was just kind of funny because I literally just wrote that up last night and sent it out this morning. So, we're on different parts of the country. It's kind of funny to see that that's still kind of, right on par with each other. Second thing, yeah, I mean, just think about it as a buyer. I mean, this is just supply and demand, common sense. Most people aren't wanting to move around Christmas. I mean, it's just another thing. You got your holiday shopping, you've got, time off. It's just one of the busiest times of the year. The weather's, depending on where you're living, is typically not great. It's just, it is what it is. It's always been like that. That's kind of the quote.
I was going to say, you're talking to somebody that moved the closing date was 6 days before Christmas with a 4-week-old, 5-week-old. So
Yeah.
understand it's not ideal, but if you want to save money and get a good deal,
Yeah.
might be a good way to go.
Exactly. So you just got to think like, hey, if everybody else is on the sidelines right now, that's just all people that I'm now not having to compete with. To where if you wait till spring and all those same people with those same thoughts are coming back out to the market, now you're competing against all of them. So just little things like that, I think are super important to get an advantage. Not to say, I mean, you can find a good deal any time of the year. It's totally possible. But when you're making the biggest investment of your life, I mean, for most people, that's the most expensive thing they ever buy is a home. Any little advantage you can get is going to help. So, I mean, things like that I think are really important. And then also a thing that a lot of people don't think about, we're coming to the year end. Maybe if you were pre-approved a year ago, 6 months ago, or whatever, you now have one more year of W-2 and say you've done a lot better this year.
Worked more overtime, got a
Yeah,
raise.
overtime, commission, bonus, things like that, even right now, a few months until the end of the year, we can't use because we have to go off your last 2 years, average of those two things. Boom. The second this year starts over, you get that new W-2, that new year-end pay stub. We can now take that and kind of look at those averages. And I've got a few people right now that are pre-approved and are kind of waiting these last 6 weeks because their income is going to be substantially higher of these averages that we can use. People who have been pre-approved in the past or, maybe even haven't, but they're like, if I can knock off 2022 and now look at 23 and 24, I'm going to be in a good spot. That's another really, really important thing that I think a lot of people don't think about, that can really, really change. I mean, I've got a couple buyers right now that are waiting until the end because their max payment literally goes up by like $1,000, $2,000 because they got a new job. It's going to now be 2 years where they can, I mean, it makes a substantial difference of like $100,000 on their purchase price or more. So I think that's something else to kind of keep in mind for people as well.
Yeah, it's a great nugget. You want to hop into so housing question of the week?
Yeah. Okay. And this is one that I got, and I think you'd be a good one to answer it. So I had a veteran client. We're looking at a VA loan. They've got a little bit of debt. I think, I can't remember exactly what it was, whether it was just some credit card debt, car loan, or whatever it was. But essentially, we need to look at paying off some debt to kind of get their debt to income in a better spot to be able to afford what they want. So, kicking this question off to you, how can a veteran kind of take advantage of that and get debt paid off for themselves?
Yeah, it's helped. I'm sure you've had the same, like in the past, working with a veteran, getting them either qualified to buy the house they already are looking at and maybe need to pay it off to qualify, or the homes that they're looking at in the price range you qualified them for without paying debt off, they weren't finding anything. And so you're like, hey, well, we can pay some stuff off to get you at a higher sales price or price point. Like, and I'm saying that as a loan officer. So for people watching that aren't familiar, it just means, hey, if I pre-qualified Kyle for say a $450,000 home and he couldn't look at homes higher than that, but he has an auto loan with 10 grand that he's borrowed with a $500 payment. Say if we pay that car loan off, now he can go qualify for a $500,000 home and he's eliminating that car payment. So with that, the cool thing as a veteran is you can put that in your offer. So if I was to ask or offer on a home, I can put in the contract and say, hey, my offer is contingent or pending on you as the seller paying off my debt. So you can actually, as a veteran on VA loans, have the seller of the property, just like seller concessions, give you money back to pay a debt off to have you qualify, which is super cool tool. I'm pretty sure most veterans aren't even aware that you can do that. Unfortunately, just so the listeners know, can't do that unless you are a veteran. But for people that are veterans and qualifying for a VA loan, you can actually put that in your offer. So if you have a credit card, an auto loan, a personal loan, and you want to get that paid off to either qualify for more, or you're like, shoot, I just want to get rid of this debt. Maybe I can ask the seller to. You can. So it's a super cool tool that the VA has to allow you to be in a good financial situation too, especially if you're purchasing a home and maybe you're taking on a higher mortgage payment than what you are currently with what your rent payment is.
Yeah, I think that's such a good piece that a lot of people don't know. I mean, I think some lenders aren't even kind
Yeah.
of aware of that. And to kind of add on to that, if you are a veteran or your spouse is a veteran or you know a veteran, anyone who can use a freaking VA loan. They are, first off, the rates are better than just about any other product. You can put $0 down and you don't have mortgage insurance. They first off, I love working with veterans anytime we can. It's always a fantastic thing. I've done a lot of VA loans over the years. It is hard. I mean, for my money, I don't really know of many better products than the VA loan. So just screaming that from the rooftops for people. It's such a good way to get into a home.
Yeah. Yeah. VA loans are awesome. Like the refinance options are awesome. Their rates are awesome. One thing to keep in mind if you are a veteran and you're listening, because this bit me in the butt a couple of years ago, is you can only be on a VA loan if you are a veteran or a spouse of a veteran. So if you got a girlfriend, make sure you have that conversation. Say, hey, look, I love you, but can't be on my loan because we're not married. Or stop wasting time. Go buy her a ring and get married so she can be on the loan and get some equity too. But just a little tidbit to throw in there. But hope that's helpful. I think we should get into the buy and sell, and we'll wrap up for this week and get ready for the next. But if you're ready, I'll let you hop into your sell or buy. I'll let you decide on which way you want to go first.
Yeah, let me pull it up here. Okay, I got a good one here. And this is starting off with my sell. When everything, and it always seems like this happen, hits all at once. So like,
You don't like that?
yeah, I know, crazy, right? But like, I swear, I don't know why in life this always happens. It's like if you get a flat tire, then you're also gonna have a deal go wrong at work that day, and you're
Yep.
also gonna have, you're gonna burn your dinner, forget about it in the oven, and have to order takeout. Or when something goes wrong, it always seems like it all piles on, which is, I mean, sometimes you just gotta laugh and laugh through it, but it's I was just thinking about the other day and had to write it down in my notes, but that's my sell of the week, dude. When you just have a day where things just kind of snowball and you're just like, gosh, what did I do to deserve this? But I mean, what can you do, right? You just
Oh, it's the worst.
keep on trucking through. But
It's
yeah,
the worst, especially because I think for me, sometimes it's hard to like not want to just stop everything for the rest of the day. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, now I'm definitely not going to go to the gym. Now I'm like going to sit on the couch and sulk because I'm just pissed off that all this is
Yeah.
happening, which is not is not what you should do. But yeah, that's it's the worst. Legit. Like, I honestly was going to say the same thing as just like getting out of a routine is my sell. I think over the last couple of weeks, I'm trying to like learn how to roll with the punches between getting sick, taking care of Vincent, just being sleep deprived. I found out like over the last like month a lot about myself because I thrive on 8 hours of sleep. Like I used to be able to get like 5 hours and be totally chilling. And now it's like if I don't get 8 hours, I'm like pissed off, I'm grumpy, I'm like super quick to get irritated about stuff. I respond to questions differently than just being like, everyone's not as having as is not having as bad of a day as you are, so you need to just relax. So honestly, that's my sell is getting out of a routine.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I'm just kind of expanding on that as just like, yo, you gotta roll with the punches because I can't you can't use the same excuse for everything or like things are gonna happen. You just gotta keep going.
No, 100%. Yeah, I feel like I just never try and take myself too seriously. And I feel like for me, the thing that works is, yeah, like just kind of laughing it off. Just be like, dude, like, and not to get too philosophical, but like 99% of the problems that you deal with, like on a daily basis, and like a day that could just suck and five things went wrong, like a month later, you're not even going to remember
Right.
any of them, and especially not a year later, 5 years later. So I think keeping that perspective is huge as well. I mean, it's obviously easier said than done sometimes.
In the moment, it's terrible. At
Yeah,
least I'm terrible.
you can it can kind of seem like that, but you zoom out a little bit. I always just try and say too, and Jasmine always gets pissed at me sometimes because it's like she's like, you don't have to be so like freaking positive like all the time. You can be upset. Like I'm always just like, well, I've had this bad day, but I guarantee there's a million people out there that had a lot worse day that would be thankful to have my day, which is like I get it. Like can be a little bit annoying, but it does it legit helps me a lot to like think about that and stuff.
Yeah, I think that you have to think like that because if not, you could be negative about everything.
Exactly. Like I do like think so much that like you have a choice about everything that happens. You can either like you get to choose how I mean you might feel a certain way about it, but you get to choose how you react to it. And even if something bad happens or whatever, like you can kind of choose. Like once again, easier said than done. And everybody is, especially myself, is guilty of not handling it perfectly every time. But that does help a ton. But getting off the soapbox here, moving to the buys, dude. This has been a little hashtag I've been using on my Instagram a lot lately, which is sweat in nature early. One of my I
Okay.
just came up with this one day when I was in Coeur d'Alene going on my runs in the morning and stuff like that. But getting outside and 75 hard was great about this because you had to do an outside workout every day. But starting your day with getting outside, getting fresh air, and getting a little sweat in, even if it's just a mile, you do 1 mile.
Are you on your phone too? Or are you off your phone?
I
Depends.
I try not to be on my phone for like the first hour or so that I wake up. Definitely doesn't happen every day. Sometimes I'm like, shoot, I gotta something really
Yeah.
important. I gotta hop on work first. But the trajectory of my day when I don't do that and I wake up earlier and I get a little sweat in, even if it's running 1 mile, that takes 8 minutes. Like it really does set up your day so much. So sweat in nature early. Even if you just got to go outside and go for a little walk or something. I've been trying to get in the ocean every morning before work, even if it's just for 10 minutes. And it is massive how different my day is if I jump right on work and then I'm consumed through work and I don't step outside until 5 p.m. or whatever it is versus a day that I don't. It is, I can't even like describe how different it is.
Yeah.
Like for a few days over this last week, I was kind of in a bit of a funk, and I noticed I was like, oh well, you got up and you started working, and then we're slammed all day. You didn't take that time, like which can seem like this is important. I got to do this, but if you take the time to do it before, it makes everything better anyway.
You're more productive even with less time because the time you
Yeah,
took to do what
yeah.
you just said.
I can't be good at my job if I'm not good with myself. Like I feel like that's a undervalued thing. So that's my bio.
Yeah, dude, that's huge. We talk about it all the time. I feel like we could just make a separate podcast about health and wellness because you and I are both so into it. Like being not being on your phone and just getting up and getting out of bed and just moving your body is so crucial.
Yeah,
Like you said, I I'm a huge go to the gym in the morning guy, and to a fault where Bree's like, we can go on a walk. And I'm like, no, I have to go to the gym. Like, we can go on a walk later.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, when I go to the gym, my days are much more productive. And then I go on a walk and it would be the same. And what I realized is like, and I didn't want to go on a walk, not because like I don't want to go to walk with my wife and my son and my dogs, but more so because I was usually going by myself and then I'd scroll on my phone. Where
Yeah.
if I went to the gym, I wouldn't be on my phone because you're lifting weights or I'm running on a treadmill, whatever it is. And so I realized it wasn't like the activity I was doing, it was just the fact that I wasn't on my phone. Like I was just never on my cell phone.
Yeah.
So getting a little Teams call here real quick. You want to just have him hop on the pod?
Yeah. My bad.
Oh, you're good.
Was that pretty loud on your end?
No, it wasn't loud. I mean, I could hear it, but it wasn't
Yeah.
loud.
My bad, folks.
That you just get me back for the pest spray guy that came in a couple weeks ago. But yeah, the whole point I was getting at is like, to me personally, it's just get off your phone. The days that I wake up and sit in bed for 20 minutes scrolling Instagram or sending you and Smokey some reels, and then I get up, get coffee, and then I sit on the couch, and then what do? I drink my coffee and watch more reels or Instagram
Yeah.
or scroll. And it's like, look, I can't say like social media sucks or like I'm not trying to say it's terrible for you, but I just think taking a break and setting aside time to not be on it is huge, and it's helped me a ton. So with that, my buy is Opal, which you actually put me on, which if you don't have it, I would highly suggest you get it. It's an app, it's totally free, and you can actually block out like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever it is that you like distracts you during the day so that you don't have access to it, you don't get notifications for it. You can actually go in and like press take a break, and you could set take a break for 5 minutes. I think the max is 15. So
Yeah.
if you're like, hey, I just cranked out an hour of work, I deserve a little brain rot scroll sesh, you can do it. But it's been huge for me. Like I said, it's so easy for me to get stuck scrolling and watching. I'm on TikTok now. I'm trying to post some more on there. And so, man, that TikTok is absurd to get stuck on. I enjoy it. Like, shout out to you for putting me on that. I think it's been like probably almost 2 years now since I've got it. And yeah, it's been huge. Huge for business, especially.
That's a good one too. And like we were talking about earlier, like being authentic on Instagram and stuff like that, like that's one of the things I struggle with the most. Like I feel like I have pretty good willpower, like I'm pretty motivated and whatever it might be, but that's something that is so hard for me to where sometimes you don't even realize it. You look down and then you look up and an hour went by and I'm like, what the hell did I just do? Like even 5 minutes after I'm done, I'm like, I can't even think of five of the videos that I saw over the last hour. Like what do you what do you
All that's in your brain during that time frame is the monkey with the symbols just doing this for an hour straight. Dude, at some point our podcast is gonna get so good that we're gonna be able to, like Dalia, all those guys, they can just throw up the like a picture of a monkey doing that when we have
yeah.
it. Because dude, like my buy this week was gonna be that Ewok on the Today Show from 2008.
Save that. Save that. That's too
Yeah,
good.
and
I
just
need,
throw that on there. Well, dude, I feel like we knocked it out of the park. Hopefully, the listeners felt the same. As always, leave us a comment, give us some feedback on questions you might have. I think we get so stuck on questions that maybe we think are like super bland or straight to the point. Like you have to put
yeah.
20% down to buy. Maybe somebody does have a bland question that they are unsure of, and we want to answer it for you. So,
Yeah. I'm gonna start posting on Instagram more too, like on my story, ask us questions. We wanna make this relevant. Me and Goody can pick up the phone and just call each other if we really want to just BS. So I mean we want to be talking about stuff that's helpful, and stuff that we enjoy as well. So let us know what you guys want to hear. We're at half hour here, so let's cap it. But great chatting with you, brother. I'm excited to keep this rolling and let's ride Broncos
see you
country.
next week.
All
Let's
right.
weld.
See you, brother.